throughout the nation and around the globe. From his heart to yours, it's Dear James Live, bringing you intuitive insight, answers, and advice to your life questions.
Hello, beautiful soul family, and welcome to Weekly Wisdom and Insights, your home for spiritually guided transformation and empowerment. I am your host, Dearjames, and together with the unseen, spirit, source, and symphony, we look at the current energies, the intuitive wisdom and insights, and we go as guided. And we have some beautiful energy that we are working with, which is the sun enters Gemini. That occurs on the 21st of May. And shortly thereafter, the sun and Uranus come together. They're conjunct for a CAZIMI. And we also just had Mars move into Taurus. Venus moved into Cancer, where she's exalted. And then we also have a Uranus SEDNA conjunction. There's a lot going on astrologically. And notice how Uranus is at the epicenter of it all. So let's take a look at our main energies. We have 5, nourished while waiting, patience. We have 20, contemplation, view. Contemplation is a higher view. It's to step back from the glass and really take it all in to see beyond what's on the surface. It's a 1 year, all year long, so it's the creative, initiate. It's to harness these energies in a proactive and productive manner, in a pure manner. And then we culminate with the 8, uniting, unite, and how we bring this all together into harmony. Well, let's take a look at the astrological chart for the sun enters Gemini at 0 degrees Gemini. And as you all know, I read the charts intuitively, and the first thing that I heard from the unseen about this chart and these energies, all that I just discussed, is, oh, the webs we weave. Well, the spiritual meaning behind "Oh, the webs we weave" is a famous misquotation of Sir Walter Scott's "Oh, what a tangled web we weave when first we practice to deceive." And it's a warning about the law of cause and effect and the spiritual burden of dishonesty. And we've been talking a lot about how, while that final dragon of the past that has been chained down, and its neck and head is just flailing and wailing and so forth, at some point, that head gets lopped off. And last week or the week before, there was astrological occurrences happening where it was conjunct Algol in the head of Medusa. And so, on a deeper level, the metaphor reveals several core spiritual truths. It's about lies, deceit, and inauthenticity. They're like a spider's web. While a web is meant to ensnare others, the spiritual reality is that the weaver inevitably becomes entangled in their own illusions, losing their personal freedom. So in essence, when someone is doing deceitful things, outwardly it looks like it's happening to others. But ultimately, spiritually, it's happening to the one that's doing it. There's a karmic domino effect. Every deception requires more deceptions to maintain it, trapping you in a cycle of your own making. Spiritually, this demonstrates that you always reap what you sow, and inauthentic actions build an energetic barrier between you and your true self. Your true self is your soul source connection. The illusion of secrecy. The web points to the false belief that you can hide your true motives from the universe. Can't hide from the unseen. It serves as a spiritual reminder that what is done in the dark eventually comes to light, forcing you to face the reality of your actions. This phrase acts as a call for radical truth and mindfulness. It teaches that living in alignment with your higher self, your soul, and the universe, the unseen, requires transparency. When you stop weaving or operating from a space of ego and control, you free yourself from the karmic entanglements of deception. And remember, karma is balance. So again, what we're putting out is already coming back to us. So there is this huge message as the sun enters Gemini and it's leaving Taurus, and we're going to come to that next, where it's the sun in Taurus is like the incubation period. You can't really see, you think nothing's happening, and it's almost between two worlds. It's this liminal space. And then the sun enters Gemini and it's actionary. Everything comes to light. And in this instance, this is the first time Uranus is in Gemini, first time in 78 years, I believe, because again, it's an 84-year cycle. So here, and then of course, and it's conjunct SEDNA, SEDNA representing divine feminine. So let's quickly move. I want to get some of the astrology in here, but there's a message from the unseen that's talking about, oh, the webs we weave, and to be very mindful of the actions, the words, the deeds that you're putting out. Are they illicit? Are they of the shadow, of the goo? Because ultimately, while in the cloak of secrecy or darkness or foolery, you think you're pulling one over on someone else, you're actually doing it to yourself. And there's a price for that. There's a cost for that. So let's take a look with our astrology. We're going to begin with Astrology by Lauren. And she's talking about the new moon that just occurred in Taurus. It was on the 16th of May. And she begins with a quote by Clara Barton. "Be always calm, my child. Keep yourself quiet and in restraint. Reserve your energies. Doing those little things that lie in your way, each one as well as you can, saving your strength so that when God does call you to do something good and great, you will not have wasted your forces and strength with useless strivings, but will be ready to do the work quickly and well. Go slowly, my child, and keep ready." She's speaking about the sun in Taurus energies, where the human is frustrated. Welcome, Colleen. Where the human is tired, it's frustrated. It appears like nothing's happening, and yet there's this force, this energy that we can all feel that is pulling us forward. It's literally like a driving force. And so, to the beautiful quote of Clara Barton, it's to say, okay, but be mindful. On the 21st of May, the sun enters Gemini. It's going to be go time. You'll see that here in a second. So, Astrology by Lauren. There's often an urge to slow down in Taurus season. Smell the earth, watch the grass grow, hear the music in the bird song. And this year is no less. However, shortly after the new moon, on the 16th, Mercury and then the sun will enter Gemini, where everything is rocking and rolling with the planet Uranus. And so the advice from Clara Barton seems very valid for right now, because we are going to need to reserve whatever energy we have for the days that will be following, the days to come. For we are on the cusp of change. The unseen is saying massive change, mighty change. So, for we are on the cusp of change, and things could move quite quickly now that Uranus is at the bending of the nodes, and we will need to be well rested and fortified. When major planets such as Uranus come to the bending of the nodal eclipse points, it feels like we are between 2 points in our lives, 2 worlds, illuminating and sometimes surprising. The Sun and Mercury joining Uranus here can make this more personal as we share information with one another, disclose truths, and learn things that we had not previously known. It shifts our perceptions and can serve as turning points in our lives. So we're at this massive turning point, this revelation, it's go time, where it felt like it was just this no man's land and just this liminal space. And yet, again, 2 things. It's one foot on the gas pedal, the other on the brake. That's what these energies have felt like. Put in the comments if you're feeling the same or what you've experienced. The issue here is that as the sun enters Gemini and the sun and Sedna and Uranus come together, they're conjunct, there's this whole unraveling of the old. Why? Well, let's go to our main theme here. Our main theme is cosmic order, a higher celestial destiny. And you notice in the image is this beautiful sphere, an image of the earth, and this indigo blue turquoise light above it. The issue that we're experiencing is Earth is being lifted up, up-leveled, lifted to a higher octave. And it has to do with cosmic order. And cosmic order refers to the fundamental belief that the universe is not a random accident, but a harmonious, purposeful, and interconnected system governed by divine intelligence. It suggests that all of existence, from planetary cycles to human lives, operates according to natural and moral laws. So there's a cosmic order here at play, as above, so below. And Colleen is saying, for her, it's the unraveling of my life. And yes, that's exactly the point here. It's painful. It is not easy to endure the unraveling. However, the unraveling is purposeful because what it's doing is it's preparing us. It's freeing us. You're going to see here, number one from the unseen. Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last. So there is this unlayering, unburdening, this releasing of the past so that we are free to actually do what our soul came to do, to up-level, to experience this new octave of ourselves, of Mother Earth, of the whole, the universe. So, cosmic order. It's about universal harmony. Cosmic order represents the underlying balance of the universe, where everything has its designated place and time, much like the changing seasons or the movement of the stars. It's about interconnectedness. It promotes the spiritual realization that all living beings, nature, and the divine are fundamentally united. It's unite. Individual actions affect the broader whole. Welcome, Alicia. It's about purpose and meaning. Believing in cosmic order means trusting that there is a higher purpose or design to life, and that even periods of chaos or difficulty are part of a larger evolutionary or spiritual cycle. So this is that everything, this unraveling that Colleen is speaking to, it's purposeful. It may be painful, but it's purposeful. And it's how we deal with the anxiety, the fear, the frustration, the impatience, the anger. Taurus season is calm down, stay steady, be ready, because now we're entering go time. It's the sun in Gemini. Uranus is there, first time in 78 years. And there's a tremendous amount of unknown with Uranus. But Uranus's goal isn't to harm or to hurt. It's to liberate. It's to up-level. It's to bring us to that next octave. In Hinduism, the ancient Vedic concept of, I hope I'm saying this, Artha, is the cosmic order that regulates and coordinates the operation of the universe, including moral and physical truth. Dharma translates this order into human duty, giving individuals to live in a way that upholds universal balance. So you can see cosmic order is about universal harmony, balance, unity, oneness. How are we humans affecting that? In ancient Egypt, Ma'at represents the foundational principle of truth, balance, order, law, morality, and justice. Pharaohs and citizens alike were tasked with living in alignment with Ma'at to maintain the stability of the cosmos. In Stoicism, or Logos, the concept of Logos posits that the universe is governed by a rational, divine principle. Spiritual peace is found by aligning one's own will and actions with this natural order. Thine will with divine will. Ego, mind, personality, human, in service and alignment with the soul source connection. In Buddhism, it encompasses the natural laws of existence, such as the laws of karma and causality, ensuring that the universe operates in a systematic cause and effect manner. So, oh, the webs we weave. See, there's cause and effect, there's karma associated with all of this. And the The message from the unseen is, we know this, right? We're taught this from little kids. And yet somehow as we become adults, we abandon all of these principles, these truths, this universal cosmic order that allows and creates divine harmony, balance, purity, truth. And so we're being called back to cosmic order. It's happening regardless. As above, so below. There is no greater force than the unseen, than the divine. Mother Nature. Watch Mother Nature. It just wipes out what man creates. Boom, gone. It's no different for original intelligence, the divine. So cosmic order is being restored. It looks like mayhem and destruction and chaos and illicitness and imbalance because of the choices that we've made all this time, thousands plus years, has led to this moment of deconstruction, construction. The old, the new, cosmic order, a higher, I'm just bringing the image up one more time. So cosmic order, a higher celestial destiny. Well, a higher celestial destiny refers to the spiritual belief that your soul's ultimate purpose transcends daily earthly experiences. What we came here to do is what our soul came to experience, not what the ego, mind, personality, human wants, but what the soul wants. The soul knows the way. It knows what we're doing. It knows what we came to experience. It represents a divine calling to achieve enlightenment, deep unconditional love, and a permanent connection to higher heavenly realms, urging you to look beyond material desires. What did my soul say it would do? And how we align our human or creative force to that receptive force. It's about soul evolution, the journey of continuous spiritual growth, learning, and moving away from lower vibrations like fear or ego to reflect divine qualities, our divine nature, our divine octave. It's about cosmic connection, recognizing that you are made of stardust and are spiritually aligned with angelic energies, spirit guides, and the broader universe. We are the unseen, the discarnate, incarnate, in body, in physical form. It's about service and alignment, stepping into a state of higher consciousness where your free will completely aligns with a greater divine plan. Are you swimming upriver? Are you fighting against the change, the liberation, the unraveling? Or are you allowing it to carry you, uplift you, raise you up to a higher octave? It can be terrifying and scary, irritating and frustrating. Yes. Yes. And yet, it's purposeful, it's powerful, and it's for you. It wants for you. In many belief systems, understanding a higher celestial destiny helps ease the restlessness we feel in our physical lives by reminding us that we are on a long-term, eternal journey. This is not our first time at the rodeo. This is not our only realm and form of existence. Our soul is limitless. It's connected to the all that is. In this incarnation, in this finite experience, we have the infinite within us, before us, behind us. It's with us. And it brings me to the SABIAN symbol by Dane Rudhyar, an astrological mandala, for the symbol for Mars, for this, the sun entering Gemini chart. And it's an electrical storm. The keynote is the cosmic power able to transform all the implications of natural existence. So it's an electrical storm, and it's cosmic power that's able to transform all the implications of natural existence. At this second stage of the fivefold sequence, we see a picture which contrasts with the one of the first stage. Thus, a celestial display of power versus a clear, lovely sounding little stream. Cosmic power versus earthly power, or human power, air quotes. The lovely little sounding stream. At the back of every natural self-expression stands the tremendous power of the soul field, itself but one of the myriad aspects of the creative word that is the origin of this universe. At certain times, this power compels the natural earth-conditioned personality to accept, perhaps in awe, the spiritual potentialities of its higher celestial destiny. It's the unseen, the all that is imploring us. It's showing us, and it's rightly moving us. It's compelling us to move forward. It's showing us our spiritual potentialities of its higher or highest celestial destiny. This experience of power can both illumine and shatter. It can lift us up, construction, and it can shatter us, deconstruction. Depends on where you are on the spectrum and what on the ladder of ascension and so forth, and what you're choosing. It all comes down to choice. The next symbol reveals its positive possibilities. This is a stage of existence in which revelation is implied. Revelation is great knowing, something that's unknown. Here's Uranus. Uranus is at the epicenter of the Sun, Mercury, all in Gemini, SEDNA coming together. So it's a stage in which revelation is implied, at least as a potentiality. The consciousness may be deeply disturbed by, quote, the visitation. So in other words, we can be, our consciousness, our human, can be deeply disturbed by the visitation of the unseen. However, the substance of the individual being can be fecundated, meaning come to life, bear fruit, by the experience. This is a game changer. We're at these places, and I know that when we read the headlines and watch the news and we see this, just the goo, and it looks like it's prevailing. And yet what it's doing, it believes it's doing it to others. This retribution and this manipulation and control and, lies and deceit and cheatery and all of this stuff. And yet what the fool doesn't understand in that is that that is exactly what you're doing to yourself. So, oh, the webs we weave. And the unseen is saying, okay, however, remember, faire attention, as they say in French, pay attention. Cosmic order, a higher celestial destiny is at hand. Let me go to 1, 2, and 3. They go together. The unseen gave this to me. The first one is free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last. This, of course, is the conclusion of the very famous I Have a Dream speech by Martin Luther King Jr. in 1963. So the unseen, it's number one, creative force, is saying we are moving into territory where we are free at last. It may not look like it, I understand. However, that head of the dragon gets lopped off. It's done. That dog does not hunt in the new. And so, yes, we are in the final vestiges. And you see in this image all of these dream catchers blowing in the wind. This is a culmination point of everything that we humanity, and we, the unseen, have wanted for humanity, this heaven on earth, this liberation of the shadow, of the dark, of evil, if you will, these lesser choices. Number two, from the unseen is a million dreams for the world we're gonna make. This comes from The Greatest Showman. So you have free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last. It's the I have a dream speech. And then number 2 from the unseen, a million dreams for the world we're gonna make. And you see this woman standing with the sun rising over the water, over the vastness of the ocean, which represents consciousness, that which is in the unseen that comes to humanity. And she's holding arm outstretched with this massive bouquet of balloons representing dreams. So this, of course, is speaking to hope, the vitality of hope, the endurance of hope, and not just hope in futility, as a form of futility, but as in actual concrete deliverance. We are going through the stripping, the unraveling, the ending, the deconstruction. However, contained within that is the upleveling, is the new beginning, is the hope, the dreams coming to fruition. Why? It's number 3 from the unseen. A tipping point reached, exceeded. Watch what happens next. There will be a wave, a tsunami. We talked many shows ago about a purple wave. A purple wave. In the United States, political connotations where red and blue mix, those two colors mixed together make purple. A purple wave. We've reached a tipping point and exceeded it. That tipping point puts us over the top. Forward movement. The powers that be don't want that. They want everything status quo. They want to maintain control and power. And they're thriving and thrashing and manipulating and doing all of the webs we weave. But those chickens come home to roost for them. While the rest, and look, they're reminding me, the unseen is saying, read historically, read biblically. When there was illicitness, the good, not the perfect, but the good, were spared. They went on. But the Almighty smited the illicit, withdrew it, eradicated it. We've reached a tipping point. One can say that for humans to get it, air quotes, to get it, you have to see the worst of the worst, the deepest, greatest depravity, so that it will shift you internally to say, I don't want that. That's not the world I want to live in. That's not the world I want to leave my children and grandchildren or Mother Earth. That is not it. Because there's a deep knowing that says that's not it. And so we have these 3 together. Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we are free at last. A million dreams for the world we're gonna make. And a tipping point reached, exceeded. Watch what happens next. Be ready, it's go time. Here's where all the action comes. And it's about letting go. Let go of what doesn't work. Let go of the past. Allow the unseen, your soul source connection, the divine, to deliver you to exactly where you're meant to be. And do your best to not place any limitation on its manifestation, its possibility, becoming your reality. Don't say to yourself, I don't have, and it can't, and I don't. Eliminate that from the discussion. Clear it from your mind. Because what's certain, the Sabian symbol, an electrical storm, this creative word, this higher celestial destiny, it can both illumine and shatter. It's the unseen. And that force is all. Humans think they're in charge, but they're not. And so We have a great opportunity. It's present and it's here. Let's look now, astrologer Chani Nicholas. This is from her The Weekly, issue number 116. Ready for a once-in-a-lifetime shakeup? Question mark. Let's get loud and weird. This week marks the beginning of Gemini season and rolls out a chaotic Uranus CAZIMI. That's where Uranus is in the heart of the sun. It's in the seat of the sun. It's the first time the planet of disruption has linked up with the sun in the chatty air sign of Gemini for 78 years. So expect some uncensored plot twists. This is rare and unhinged astro, but the shakeups can be liberating. There are also some sweet and stable moments to balance out the wild card energy. Mars, the planet of action, moves into steady, grounded Taurus, and Venus, the planet of creativity and relationships, enters sensitive, caring Cancer. These two shifts will help us slow down amid the delusion and what the effery. Just don't forget to bring your sense of humor along for the ride. No one can play you for a fool if you choose to be one. So nobody can play you for a fool unless you allow it, is what she's saying. So this is a once-in-a-lifetime shakeup. And again, it's generational too. This hasn't happened. We haven't been at this point with Uranus and Gemini for 78 years. And we're at the very beginning of it. Now let's move to astrologer Pam Youngins with North Point Journal. A game-changing cosmic wave. This week, two of the transpersonal planets, Uranus, the planet of higher consciousness, and SEDNA, the planet of spiritual destiny, cosmic order, a higher celestial destiny. SEDNA is the planet of spiritual destiny. They align, come together, in Gemini. Although these two planets rendezvous about every 90 years, this is the first time in roughly 11,000 years that they have aligned in the sign of the twins, Gemini. With this Uranus-Sedna conjunction, a cosmic wave of high vibrational energies is flooding the areas of human experience that are associated with Gemini. Our individual consciousness, that's what the Sabian symbol is talking about for Mars. So here's this, it's a flooding of the areas of human experience, our individual consciousness, how we receive, process, and share information, and left brain activities such as logic, language, and analytical thinking. We may already be sensing the effects of this planetary collaboration, perhaps as lightheadedness, an inability to process complex information, or problems communicating linearly. Astrologer Alan Clay, who has researched Sedna and the other dwarf planets in great depth, shares these insights about the Uranus-Sedna alignment. Quote, I predict that we are heading for a consciousness explosion as the planet of networked ideas, Uranus, meets the planet of spiritual destiny, Sedna, in Gemini, the sign of personal consciousness. There is a huge soul growth potential with this transit because Sedna represents what our soul really wants to do in this life. So to the point that Colleen shared, this for her, it's this unraveling of her life. Yes, because this transit, this Uranus-Sedna transit, represents what our soul really wants to do in this life. It's no longer about what the human wants. The Aquarian matriarchal we the people era, and we've talked about this, is that, a tide lifts all boats. How is it that what I do and our souls are programmed universally? So it's a unique fractal and yet one with the whole. It knows what it's come to do, specifically at this time, to uplevel humanity, to experience a higher octave of itself, of the divine, to release the shadows of the past, the goo, this patriarchal, Piscean, I, me era. We've been there, done that. It's done. It's over. Cosmic order, The unseen is realigning, is bringing everything back into harmony and balance. The matriarchal era is about the harmony and unity and balance of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. It's not the feminine over the masculine. It's the harmony, the unity, them in service with and to one another. And so this brings about what SEDNA represents, what our soul really wants to do in this life. SEDNA talks about how our holistic spiritual consciousness, our soul consciousness, is developing. Transiting Uranus brings new energy, surprises, and adventure into our lives when we are open to it. It's choice. It's only the fear that's causing the chaos and the deconstruction and all of this illicitness. It's the fear of the unknown. And someone making the choice to allow fear to dictate, control, manipulate, without recognizing that you're doing that to yourself. Oh, the webs we weave. And that you have a choice. You can change that. At any given point, you can say, I choose to not do that anymore. I choose a new path. I choose to face the unknown, align with it, and allow myself to be up-leveled, lifted up to a higher octave. So transiting Uranus is bringing new energy, surprises, and adventure when we are open to it. It's bringing it, but are we open to it? And upsets and unsettling experiences when we are not. Sedna's always trying to get us onto the spiritual path. If we are unconscious of her energy, she sends us crises that force us to let go of our old consciousness framework and transcend to a new understanding of ourselves and the world we live in. Sedna is all about potentiality, possibility. A million dreams for the world we're going to make. Free at last, free at last. Thank God Almighty, we're free at last. And this tipping point that we've reached and exceeded. Watch what happens next. So Sedna comes in, you're hanging on, you're swimming upstream, you're fighting, letting go. Okay, well, here comes, crises and all of these things to force you loose. It's the Harry Potter mandrakes, because we're being uprooted and planted into larger containers of growth, potentiality, divinity, a higher octave, a higher purity. And Pam Youngan's North Point Journal, Awakening the Feminine Voice. The legend of Sedna, the Inuit goddess of the seas, initially takes us on a journey of self-denial, deception, and betrayal, but ultimately leads us to spiritual metamorphosis and empowerment, complete metamorphosis, a transmutation of energy, a form. These positive manifestations occur only after a crisis point is reached, a tipping point reached, exceeded. Watch what happens next. So these positive manifestations occur only after a crisis point is reached, when the patriarchal powers appear to have won. But it is when all appears lost that the Inuit maiden Sedna finally releases her attachment to the traumas and the story that once defined her, and trusts Spirit to guide her to a higher destiny. Just when it looks like everything is lost, this is when she releases the past. One can say in the unraveling, when we are pushed up against the past and fear, the human, is overriding the soul gets louder at that point, really presses like a force within you and says, not this, not that, over here, this. And that is a higher destiny. It's a guide to a higher destiny. Uranus, the Great Awakener, is a force of liberation, revolution, enlightenment, and inspiration. When activated, it initiates life-changing events that can feel either like a breakthrough or a breakdown, depending on our ability to embrace necessary change. It's necessary change. You want it to feel like a breakthrough, not a breakdown. If it's a breakdown, it's because you're swimming upstream. You're fighting against the natural flow of the cosmic order, this up-leveling, this higher celestial destiny. That's for us individually and collectively, universally. We have, and it's depending on necessary change. So with Uranus SEDNA alignment occurring in Gemini, the two planets are assisting us in breaking free at last, breaking free from limiting mindsets, in learning to speak our truth, and in giving birth to the spiritually empowered feminine voice. That feminine voice, the divine feminine, is the receptive. It's the soul. It's your soul source connection. It's the all-knowing. That's why it's known as intuition and knowing and this inner voice that's speaking, because it's representing the divine feminine, the empowered feminine voice. Surprising insights, unexpected events, or sudden awakenings are possible. This is a powerful time of transformation, transmutation, one that will help us conceptualize and align with our soul's highest purpose. What did my soul come here to do? It is a powerful question. Sit with it. Ask yourself. Stand in front of a mirror. Sit in a chair quietly with your eyes closed. Sit in your car or stand in nature and ask yourself, what did my soul come here to do? What does my soul want me to do? And listen. And then follow that. Heed that wisdom, that advice. And that can be let go of these things. It will be scary. It's not easy. The human is conditioned, repetitive nature. We like to feel safe, and we like routines, and the human likes these things. The soul abhors them, because the soul is saying, yes, okay, we did that. Next, next, next. There's so many beautiful points on your soul's journey, your life. And it wants you to experience as much of it as possible in human form. Heaven on earth. Continuing with Pam Youngin's North Point Journal, we can expect to feel the greatest impact of the Uranus-SEDNA alignment, their conjunction, this week and next. But its effects will be quite strong throughout the time that the two planets are within 1 degree of each other, from May 1st to June 15th. And I believe it's the 24th of May coming up where they are conjunct together. So you can see from the astrology that we have a beautiful, profound opportunity in the Sun entering Gemini, the Sun-Uranus CAZIMI, where they're together. Literally, Uranus is in the seat, the heart of the Sun. Mars in Taurus, Venus in Capricorn, and then this Uranus-SEDNA alignment conjunction. That it's our key word. It's about release. And look at the beauty and the peace. This is an image through the grasses and everything at the ocean, at the beach. And this image and this word of release. Spiritually, release is the intentional act of letting go of what no longer serves your highest good. It means shedding old emotions, limiting beliefs, or stagnant energy to clear space for new blessings, new healing, and alignment with your true soul path. This is about releasing the old identities, the masks, the identities, the labels, the scripts, the stories, the truths. All these things that are human, ego, mind, personality, human, tells us to maintain order and feel safe. And yet they're an illusion. Because again, cosmic order, higher, the divine, your soul, wipes them out. And they don't do so without, you get the warning, the caution, the yellow lights flashing, the knowings, I know I'm not supposed to do this, I know I'm supposed to do this. You get the knowings, and it starts as a flashing yellow. And then it gets louder and louder, and it gets to red. It's very loud. It's very pressing on you. You know what to do or what not to do. And when you don't heed that, then comes the cosmic 2x4. It is the act of the tower in the tarot, because that's tied with Uranus. The tower, Uranus, expect the unexpected, these dismantling moments. But those dismantling moments don't have to be negative. We can be in the flow. Oh, I know this is happening. I know I'm to let go of it. I have to face my fears, my anxiety, my worry, and let go. It's the Fool in the tarot. Step out. It looks like you're going to fall, but you're not. The clouds lift you and carry you, deliver you to exactly where you're meant to be. But it requires will. Thine will in alignment with divine will. Divine timing, divine order, cosmic order. Trust, faith, hope, knowing. And yes, you will repeatedly, most likely, have to speak to your human and say, it's okay. Calm down. It's okay. We've got this. And then keep stepping. Release is about surrendering the need to control outcomes, forgiving yourself or others, and releasing toxic attachments, grief, or fear. It's about clearing stored trauma and tension from your body, often felt as a light, tingling, or washing out sensation during a deep meditation or energy work. So it's about clearing this stored trauma, these stories, truths that we've told ourselves that box us in. And lastly, it's about spiritual awakening. It's about a natural byproduct of growing self-awareness, where you melt through illusions and shed ego-driven limitations to step into a higher state of consciousness. It is an up-leveling. Let's go to 4, 5, and 6 from the unseen. Number 4, they said, healing sacred lines, lineage. It's all coming back to me now, and the word up-leveling. So this healing sacred lines and lineage had to do with Uranus and SEDNA, their conjunction, that they're coming together. First time in 11,000 years, is healing sacred lines and lineage. It's all coming back to me now, meaning we're coming back to the knowing of our purity, of our divinity, of our higher octave, the purity of our soul. And when they said Uranus, SEDNA, the unseen, and they said in parentheses, in parens, Selma. Well, if you were watching in the United States this past weekend, they marched on the famous bridge in Selma. Because again, there's shenanigans and tomfoolery and things about manipulating things, trying to roll back civil rights through the deconstruction of the Voting Rights Act, not to get political. What it's triggering, so this tomfoolery, this illicit shadowness, oh, the webs we weave, is awakening people. The masses are awakening. We've already been there, done that. We've already seen the past, the degradation, the dehumanization, the confinement, the harm. What you believe you're doing to another, you're doing to yourself. And humanity is saying, no more, not again, not this, not that, this over here. A tide lifts all boats. We want the whole of the whole to be lifted up. To do that, we have to be the highest octave of ourselves, the greatest purity of ourselves. It is, and I just want to go to this, it's Romans 14:13. So, let's stop condemning each other. Decide instead to live in such a way that you will not cause another believer. Believer is a believer in the unseen. I know this is written from a Christian perspective, but it's meant it can be applied most liberally in a spiritual connotation. So let's stop condemning each other. Decide instead to live in such a way that you will not cause another believer to stumble and fall. So it begins at home. It begins with us. And when we live in alignment with cosmic order, Mot, truth, purity, honesty, trust, faith, and we radiate that out, and we stop condemning each other, because that's the weaponry that's used, is to cause, it's to divide it. United we stand, divided we fall. It's to divide and conquer. It's to get humanity to pit itself against another, as opposed to unite, coming together, united as one. So we have this, so 4, 5, and 6, healing sacred lines, lineage. It's all coming back to me now. This Uranus, SEDNA, Selma. Number 5 is movement and connectivity, quote, out of the blue. It has to do with the Chariot and hexagram 34, great vigor. I'll come to those in just a second. And number 6, expect miracles, a miracle. And then I heard the lyrics, raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens. These are a few of my favorite things. It's the song My Favorite Things from The Sound of Music. So you see this free at last, a million dreams, a tipping point, healing sacred lines and lineage. It's all coming back to me now. Movement and connectivity. There's going to be movement. It's fluid. It's in Gemini. So it's go time. It's going to be fast action and movement. It's number 5, so change. And this connectivity, how the right people, the right places, the right things come to us, like just in the masterfulness, that's the word I wanted, the masterfulness of the master weaver, of the tapestry, of the unseen, curating and weaving our collective experience and our individual experience, what the soul came to do. And this expect miracles, a miracle, raindrops on roses and whiskers on kittens. These are a few of my favorite things. Then they had me add the other part of the lyrics, which was, when the dog bites, when the bee stings, when I'm feeling sad. It's to remember, again, are you in the shadow? Are you resisting the flow, the change? Are you, oh, the webs we weave, are you weaving illicit energy, karma? And how, when the dog bites and the bee stings, or when I'm feeling sad, when those chickens come home to roost, they're yours because you chose them. So this up-leveling is happening. How you experience it when you get there, that's individual, that's free will. Divine will is cosmic order, a higher celestial destiny. It's a fait accompli, it's happening. You're either in alignment with it or you're not. You're either in the flow with it or you're not. And again, yes, it requires great depth of faith and trust and patience, will, divine will, alignment with it, to walk this path, this passageway. It's a passageway. It's because they're saying it's not forever. It feels like that, but it's not forever. It's just, we got to get to the other side of things. How we do that is up to us. So let's also look, so we have the Chariot. Let's go to the Chariot really quickly. That's coming back with the movement and the connectivity out of the blue. So the Chariot, when the Chariot shows up upright, it's go time. This is the card of momentum, willpower, and determined action. You're being called to steer your life in the direction of your choosing, your soul's choosing. Don't let distractions, doubts, or detours pull you off course. In many versions of this card, you'll see a figure in the Chariot. This person isn't holding traditional reins. Instead, they guide 2 sphinxes, one black, one white, with sheer force of will. It's about balance, baby. victory through discipline, moving forward not just with horsepower, but with purpose. You don't have to have it all figured out. You've only got to commit to the journey. See, this is about committing to your soul's purpose, path, aligning divine will, creative force, free will, with divine will. Your soul source connection, the divine feminine, the receptive, the knowing. So this movement and connectivity out of the blue. Hexagram 34 is, great vigor. And hexagram 34 is this image. I'm using this image of the ram, very Aries, because we have that whole stellium of planets. And this is where Neptune and Saturn still are. First time in 6,000 plus years, they met at 0 degrees Aries. So hexagram 34 is great vigor. Congratulations, there is strength and vigor in this situation, like that of a ram that knocks down a fence to free himself from captivity. This points to a time when a strong force comes into its own and asserts its power. When a leader comes into a position of power, his or her personal strength has usually already peaked. Though great stamina was required in climbing to the top of the mountain, once at the summit, so we've all been climbing, we're at the summit. So once at the summit, the support of others is needed to maintain the position. This is the collective. This is our collective choices. Therefore, a shift in attitude becomes necessary to persevere in what is right and just. Let your strength be tempered by wisdom. To maintain power, the strong leader learns to share it with others, for only then will his or her position be secure. A strong leader will not only be the possessor of power, but a source of it. It's recognizing that with great power comes great responsibility. How do we harness it? Are we sharing it? A tide lifts all boats. Are we uplifting others, which uplifts ourselves? Because in the matriarchal Aquarian, we the people era, it's what we do for the whole of the whole that is coming back to us, that lifts us up. It lifts everyone up. When you find yourself in an influential position, it is important to act responsibly and act with care. Power must not be allowed to degenerate into raw force that rides roughshod over everything in its path. We're bearing witness to that. A strong sense of responsibility for the collective good is the key to the successful exercise of power. By following what we intuitively know to be for the greater good, we avoid reckless abuses, which in the end only undermine the source of our strength. Arrogance contains the seeds of its own undoing. So, this is where we have the opportunity to heed the call, to heed the messages, to heed the offerings. And out of the blue means a sudden, completely unexpected event. It is an abbreviated form of the longer 19th century expression, a bolt out of the blue, or a bolt from the blue, which refers to a bolt of lightning or thunder striking from a clear, cloudless sky. It's Uranus. It's hexagram 51. Thunder, shock and awe. It's the Tower card in the tarot. So, movement and connectivity out of the blue. The Sun in Gemini, the Sun Uranus CAZIMI, the Uranus SEDNA CAZIMI, or togetherness, conjunction, and this was very interesting. In 1837, the exact phrase was first recorded in print by historian Thomas Carlyle in his book, The French Revolution. Arrestment, sudden, really as a bolt out of the blue, has hit strange victims. The point here is that the first time out of the blue was used, this exact phrase, in recorded print was in 1837 in a book called The French Revolution. We've talked about how Pluto in Aquarius, not since the French, American, and industrial revolutions, these revolutions, these advancing of society, commerce, life, communication, consciousness. And so this is going to come out of the blue. And last but not least, number 7 from the unseen is peace. Let there be peace. And peace in the Bible is not merely the absence of conflict. It is defined by the Hebrew concept of shalom, which means wholeness, harmony, and well-being. Scripture teaches that this peace is a gift from the divine and is available in 3 distinct forms. Spiritual peace. It teaches that humanity's broken relationship with God, with the divine, is restored through faith, resulting in peace. Psychological peace within yourself. Scripture promises a divine grounding peace that replaces anxiety, fear, and worry, especially during difficult circumstances. And relational peace with others. Believers are called to actively pursue harmony, unity, and reconciliation with those around them. Cosmic order, a higher celestial destiny. Because ancestors, antiquity, these multicultural understandings were speaking to this natural cosmic order that brought about these 3 forms of peace, that maintained them, that ensured them, that kept them in harmony and balance. And finally, it's our mantra. Our mantra is mind versus matter. And mind versus matter. In spirituality, mind versus matter represents the ultimate philosophical debate about what is fundamental. It explores whether our physical reality, matter, shapes our consciousness, or if our consciousness, mind, spirit, soul source connection, is the true architect of the physical world. This perspective, so mind over matter, idealism, this perspective argues that consciousness is the fundamental building block of the universe, and physical matter is simply its projection or byproduct. Original intelligence comes in. It illumines our physical consciousness, our beingness. And from that, we co-create, we manifest. So it's about the fact that physical matter is the projection or the byproduct of consciousness, our soul. Matter, in the spiritual view, matter is an illusion or a transient vessel. The mind, connected to the divine or universal consciousness, has the power to shape, heal, and alter physical circumstances through intention, belief, and will. And then in practices, manifestation, meditation, and focused prayer heavily rely on this concept. Matter over mind, the reverse, is this viewpoint asserts that the physical, material world is primary, and the mind is merely a temporary product of the physical brain. In the spiritual view, within a spiritual context, this view, matter over mind, this view often warns of being trapped in the illusion, Maya in Eastern traditions. It emphasizes that over-identifying with material wealth, physical appearances, and the ego can disconnect you from your higher spiritual self, from your soul source connection. In practices, detachment, minimalism, and grounding exercises help individuals break free from material attachment. So again, it's like which wolf wins? The one you feed. And this recognition that original intelligence over artificial intelligence, soul source connection over ego, mind, personality, human. Because without what comes through us, nothing's present. It doesn't work. There is no illumination. There's the illumination of consciousness. It's coming to us first, then we're co-creating. To co-create absent that, or to believe that it's you, I'm doing this, leaves you trapped, disconnected, isolated, minimized. Lastly, many deep spiritual traditions, such as Advaita Vedanta and certain schools of Buddhism, reject the verses entirely. So this verses, mind versus matter, the verses part, entirely, arguing that mind and matter are not opposing forces. Because, of course, when one recognizes that the physical, matter, is a manifestation of consciousness, the unseen, then they are one. There is no separation. The spiritual view is that matter and mind are two sides of the same coin, or different frequencies of the same universal energy. The physical body is seen as frozen or densified mind, meaning spirit, and the mind is simply the active flowing aspect of the body. It's the connectivity. It's the operating system. And I just want to bring the image up again, because you see this image, the head of a human, and it's being illuminated, infused again with this indigo, turquoise energy, light, this blue topaz, white diamond light. And that is our connectivity. That is our co-creating. That's our original intelligence moving through us, manifesting through us. So we find ourselves here at this incredible moment where, again, the wheels are turning, destiny, the arc of destiny moves forward. And while it appears that this patriarchal era, this climax point, this tipping point, when it looks like all is lost and that we're just sliding backwards, this is when Uranus and SEDNA heals generational lineage. It's healing sacred lines and lineage. And it all comes back to us. We awaken. Looking forward to seeing all of you next week and seeing what the unseen has for us in store, because again, we have a blue moon coming up at the end of the month on May 31st. It's the second full moon in the month of May. So out of the blue, a blue moon, and it's go time, all of this fast-moving energy. Be ready, be in the flow, and be willing to let go to see where your soul, the unseen, not only guides you, but delivers you, takes you. We'll see you next week.
You've been listening to Dearjames Live. Gain intuitive insight, answers, and advice to your life questions, and so much more by tuning in next week and visiting dearjames.com.